Hey, welcome back to the channel. Let's do a lesson on Lamb of God's 11th hour. Right, so before we get started, the tuning for this is drop D standard tuning, so D, A, D, G, B, E. So this song starts on the 12th fret on the upstroke. I'll just do it slowly. Right, so that same riff just keeps repeating until you could see then I do the slide from the 12 to the 11. And as you do the slide, you're upstroking on the A string, so it's ringing out, and you're coming down on the D string with a palm mute. And as you can see, it just repeats itself and does that. And that intro riff to get to the verse, it's a little bit of a finger twister, but the way I do it, 8-7-6 on the A string, then 9-8-7 on the D, then 5-6-5. And then you go on a power chord on the D sharp. And in between you just come down and give a chug on that open D. So we're into the verse now, and the verse utilizes that same. So that keeps repeating, and eventually you get to the riff on the 4th string on the D. We slide up to the 7th and then up to the 8th. And then back into the verse. And the chord we hit here is on the 9th fret on the G and on the 6th on the B. And we let ring out all, I think the D, G, B and E strings ring. I think the A string even rings in that. I think it does. What's difficult about this is letting those notes ring as long as possible. You tend to want to play it going, over accentuated, but you're not letting them ring out. So be mindful of that when you're playing it. Let them ring out the entire time and come straight back down to the palm mute. Like, you don't get much of a time to rest your hand back and then start your palm mutes. You've got to really just... And for the second time, you can see there the hand shape changes. Instead of the 9, you actually have to go up to the 10. So we're on the 10 and the 6 on the G and the B. And this finger comes across and goes onto the 8. And then that just alternates the two. Hopefully you can see that the same picking pattern happens. Right there, you slide up to the 14th fret, but your hand shape is on like the F sharp sort of pentatonic. And you can see there, it's just a pull off on the 14th to the 13th on the G, onto the 15th on the D. And then you do a half bend on the G. And every other time in this riff, you can see I'm doing 12, 10, 8 on the A string. And then you go down, you skip with your first finger, and you're on the 8 and 10. So at that point, the riff changes to the next part, and Mark and Willie harmonize. And then you come down to that 8th again. And then we come down to the 5th. And then the harmonized part comes in. And it goes back into that same. And there's a few ways you can play this. If you're on your own, I like to do both parts at once. But whatever floats your boat. If you've got another guitar player, you both do different things. And that keeps cycling around. On the very last time before you go back to the riff before it, you actually give it an artificial harmonic and a vibrato on the 7th. So that last part. You can see there I hit that artificial harmonic the last time. And then we're back into the riff. And that keeps on cycling. On the last time, it interrupts. So I'll play this one slow and we'll get into the change just to show you where the change happens. At that point, just before you hit you actually start that. Followed by 8, 7, 5, then 10, 8, 7. We'll just play it at speed, just so you know where the timing. And we're into that cool riff. I'll just play it at speed and then we'll break it down. So it seems like a little bit of a mouthful. It's a very cool riff. So it starts. Again, this is the part that I found the hardest. If you can see that, you have to get the timing right to land on that open D. That little quick skip. If you can do that, you got to remember that part. As soon as you come off that 10th on the D, straight after that D, it's a double hit on the 8th string to the 7th. And then an open E. So the next part, it's an artificial harmonic on the 6th, and it's a... You do it on the 6th, and then you just drag it up to the 10th. So with the dominant on the 8th, down to the 5th. So I'm just on the 8th there with the little finger. That note there we have to artificially harmonic. It's on the 6th string, and it's just a half bend. And then you drop down, you slide up to the 7th. And we're back to the start again. But I'll just play that from the 8th dominant there. And we're back to the start. So at speed, you can't really cut corners. It's a tough riff. Keep your timing and keep it really articulate as well. So and then we get into the last of the song, getting into the tail section. All right, so you go into that series of all the chugs. You play along with it, you'll know the timing. If you've made it this far and you're playing along, you'll work that out. And at that point, we go into the same shape as before, but just down a fret to the 5th and the 8th. And in this one, I tend to bend it a little bit sour as I'm doing it. And then you're into the chugs. And this part, this is like it just wears you out. The timing here is pretty crucial, and it's hard to keep the rhythm going so tight. You're pummeling on that E, so you've got to get the 5 going down, or so the open D. And then I strike up because it gives a nice raspy. And it just keeps repeating, and you get, by this stage, your arm is burning. That's just normal. Just keep pushing through that. And you finish, thank God you finished that section, and you're just into the downstrokes. When you're doing these downstrokes, I accentuate every 4th. And this is just going on the 3 to the 5, give it a wobble. Then 3 to the 6, give it a wobble. And that just keeps alternating until they feed back into that. And the way I do this is just 3 down and up. Now, on every 6th count as you come up, as soon as you hit that strike, you have to go straight into that riff. And that just keeps on repeating. So again, that's a little bit of a tricky one to come straight off that. Straight back in. After that, the song just finishes with the very first part of that riff that we did earlier. And the song's finished. and you're done. So breathe a sigh of relief. That riff there, that's just really hard. So that's 11th hour. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I could show you something, and keep safe and enjoy that guitar. Cheers, guys.